Your relationships will fail without this one thing that I'm going to be covering in this video. I'm going to break it down into 3 steps for you as well, so you can actually take action from this very video. If you're new to my channel, thank you for joining me. My name is Lewis Huckstep. I'm a coach, I'm an author, I'm a speaker. I've written the book called The Inspired Life Method, and I help people find their true self, heal trauma, find their life's purpose, and create a life that's meaningful to them. An inspired life is what I help people with. So if that interests you, stick around, guys. The only favor I ask for you before we get into this is if you could just honestly like this video, subscribe, leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel, helps me reach more people, and I get to help more people. And I just put more money and resources back into this channel. So thank you in advance. With that being said, I'm going to break this down step by step for you. I'm very much a structured teacher where I like to give people actionable steps to take action. So I'll teach it broadly for you, and I'll give you some answers of what to do. And you can actually send this to your partner as well. Because a very common question I get from my clients is, how do I get my partner to become aware of this stuff as well so we can date and work with each other? Just send them this video. I'll take care of it with you. If you're the partner watching this, good to meet you as well. So let's begin. The number one thing that you need for a conscious, healthy relationship, in the broadest way I could answer it, is emotional intelligence. If you do not have emotional intelligence, your relationships will suffer, they will struggle, you will not get past the challenges and triggers and mirroring that relationships are going to do. That is the broadest answer I could put. But I want to give you, again, practical answers of what that actually looks like. So why do you need emotional intelligence? Let's start there. Relationships are the ultimate mirrors to you. If you watch any of my content, I talk a lot about trauma and triggers and coping mechanisms. So trauma is a moment of overwhelm or underwhelm. And we create a perception, a lopsided perception, that it's bad, wrong, and painful. You create coping mechanisms to overcompensate, overcome, and protect yourself from the trauma. That's what a coping mechanism is. Third is a trigger. A trigger, something that reminds you of the trauma, activates the coping mechanism. I say it all the time in my content. Nothing triggers you. It reveals what's inside of you. Now, your intimate relationships are the ultimate mirrors to you. Whoever sees you the closest, which is probably your relationships, probably children, probably business, co-workers, things that have proximity to you, they're naturally, just because of proximity, going to mirror or trigger your shit. So without emotional intelligence, you're going to project, play victim, blame, just dismiss, deflect the fact that it's your trigger, and you'll blame your partner. It's their fault. They're doing this, they're doing this, they're doing this. Now, I talk about the difference between triggers and boundaries, okay? If you're triggered, if you have emotional resistance towards your partner for something they're doing or not doing, they're actually the mirror to you. That's a trigger. However, you can have boundaries, obviously. Some people take my content and cherry pick things. It's like, I'm not saying just allow poor behavior and people to treat you like shit and abuse you. No, my friend. We set boundaries with consequences. If someone does something that oversteps a boundary of yours, you enforce a boundary. But if you're triggered by it and you have emotional resistance towards it, it's still you. I'll use a silly example. Right now, I'm in my office filming this podcast and training for you guys. A boundary that I have for my wife is that when my door is closed, don't come in because I'm doing work. Like, imagine she bumps in right now, kind of knock me out of the flow of this podcast, right? Say she does it right now. If I turned around and said, and snapped at her and got triggered and said, get the fuck out, la la la, and I got really triggered at her, guess what? That's me. I just got triggered. She's reflected something back to me I haven't worked on. Rude, condescending, stupid, dumb, whatever the thing is. Inconsiderate, maybe. Versus, say I turned around and said, babe, I'm busy. I'll get back to you in 20 minutes. So the difference is the way I responded. One was an emotional, triggered response. The other was a boundary. So again, if you have resistance and triggers and emotional tension towards your partner and life, partners again are just the ultimate mirrors to you, that's something for you to work on. You might have heard your perception is a projection. You don't see things the way they are, you see things the way you are. Dr. Wayne Dyer said that really well. I love this analogy, I teach this a lot recently. You are a projector, your entire life is a projection. So wherever you have mental or emotional resistance, outside of fight or flight, by the way, because we have natural fight or flight. So if it's not life-threatening, it's just ego-threatening. So outside of real fight or flight, when you have mental or emotional resistance, you get triggered, you project, you judge, something, you have some tension or resistance somewhere, it's actually you. It's a projection of the projector, which is you. And until you address that, you'll continue to repeat the same patterns. Have you noticed that you keep attracting similar traits and triggers and patterns in your life? Because you're the projector, you're the common factor. And people do this for fucking decades until they start to come work with me. And then I'll teach them about this and empower you on how to find what the actual trigger is, what the perception is, what the limiting belief is, address that. That's coding the projector, and then the resistance goes away. That was a big mouthful. You might want to rewatch what I just said because there's a lot of information there. So that's the reason why emotional intelligence is important. Because if you don't have it, you're going to project, blame, go unconscious, and you just repeat the same patterns over and over again. This has been true 100% of the time so far for all of my clients, okay? I haven't seen this not work out. If one partner in the relationship does self-growth, healing, self-development, they work on themselves. They take ownership of their stuff and they heal and they grow. If the other partner doesn't join them and do the same thing, that relationship will end. I haven't seen it not work out yet. And why is that? Because one partner grows, heals, evolves, they take ownership of their stuff, of their triggers, their wounds, and they work on them, they integrate. The other partner plays victim. They say, it's your fault, you're trying to control me, there's nothing wrong with me, stop trying to control me. You're the whatever. They play victim. And then eventually this huge gap will happen of your level of awareness, your level of consciousness, you'll feel disconnected, and it just doesn't work. I haven't seen it work out yet. And maybe there's some situations out there where it could, where the relationship is still together, but it's a very disconnected relationship. And again, I'm talking about healthy, conscious, connected relationships. That's my goal anyways for my clients. So that's the reason why we want to have emotional intelligence. What does that look like? Let's give you some practical examples. I've got 3 for you. Number 1 is learning how to regulate your emotions. When you get triggered and you get knocked out of homeostasis, you go into a trauma response, a traumatic response, a traumatic reaction. There's heaps of words you can use for it. When you get triggered, you are out of your parasympathetic, ventral vagal, I might have got that wrong, ventral vagal connection, safe to connect nervous system. There's the sympathetic, parasympathetic, but there's also 2 versions of the parasympathetic. There's the safety zone, which is what we want to stay in, where you feel safe and connected. Your digestive system works better, your nervous system is relaxed, you feel safe to be vulnerable, to be authentic. That's when you're in neutral. That's when you're in your safety zone. When you get triggered, you're going to go into a stress, fight, or flight, or you go into a freeze, which is the shutdown response. When you go into one of those zones, you're not thinking straight. You're thinking through the lens of your wounds and your triggers and the emotions. You don't see things the way they are. You see things the way you are. So when you're in stress, when you're in a fight or flight response, you're not going to see objectively. Your perceptions are going to be distorted based on the emotions you're feeling at the time. So it's like when you're having an argument with your partner, and we've all been there. It's like you're seeing everything through the lens of what you're feeling in the moment. So being able to actually become conscious of that and regulate your emotions. And the easiest tool I teach my clients, I do this at my 3-day event, I just ran a 3-day event on the weekend, is to do a diaphragm reset and a breath flow and a reframe. So all we do, you can do it quickly if you want to. Grab your fingers. If you've got fake nails, it's a little bit harder, but you can still do it. You want to find your sternum, that's the bony part of your chest, and you want to go about 1 inch or so just below your sternum. It's where your diaphragm is. It's the squishy part of your tummy. Now, the expert version is you push up underneath your rib cage. You don't have to do that. You can just do the normal version where you just push into your diaphragm. So what you do, we can do this now. I'll do it for 1 round and you can do it as many times as you want to, is you take a big deep breath in through your nose. Don't do it right now. And when you breathe in, you'll breathe into your diaphragm. So you'll feel your belly start to expand where your diaphragm is. Try fill up your belly and expand your diaphragm. And then when you breathe out, you want to push your fingers into your diaphragm. So again, you breathe in for 5 seconds. You want to hold it for a couple of seconds as well. And then you breathe out. And when you breathe out, that's when you push your fingers in. And when you become sensitive and conscious enough, you'll actually be able to feel your nervous system. I can go up to someone, obviously with consent to be able to do it. If I push into their diaphragm, I can feel if they're in a triggered response or not. They'll be very rigid and very sharp, and there'll be like a lot of rigidity to it. Or if they're in a nice connection zone, it'll be nice and soft. So all you do, we'll do 1 round of it. If you're doing this now with me, do it with me now. So place your fingers on your diaphragm. You can use 1 hand or 2 hands. In a moment, I'm going to say breathe in. You're going to breathe in through your nose or mouth. Doesn't matter for this one. You're going to expand your tummy. I'll count you through it. And when you breathe out, push your fingers into your diaphragm, okay? So finish your exhale now. 3, 2, 1. Exhale out. Big breath in, into your tummy, into your diaphragm, into your fingers. 2, 3, 4, 5, hold it for a couple of seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe out slowly and push your fingers in to your diaphragm. All the way out. And then hold it for a couple of seconds at the bottom. Just repeat that a couple of times. If you just literally want to pause this podcast right now and do that once or twice, two, 3 times through, you can do it for a couple of minutes. You can do it for 10 minutes if you want to. But you'll notice every time you do it, you'll start to relax more. You're getting out of that triggered response. You're coming back to neutral. So first tip or practical tip to improve your level of emotional intelligence, to have beautiful relationships, is to regulate your emotions and learn how to do it. Catch yourself when you go into a triggered response and take a breath in. I teach 8 maintenance tools. So I talk about maintenance tools and progress tools. This is a maintenance tool. So it's what you do to maintain yourself when you get triggered and to maintain yourself through life. This is my favorite one. We breathe, we do a diaphragm reset, and then we reframe the situation. Not my partner's annoying, my partner is helping me regulate. Not I'm failing, I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm evolving, whatever it is. Reframe it mentally. Mental and emotional connection. So that's the first step for you for today. Again, let me know how you went and let me know how you feel after doing that, all right? Do it for maybe 2-3 minutes. Second tip that I've got for you guys is I kind of mentioned it earlier when I was talking about emotional intelligence. Number 2 is taking ownership of your triggers. Because again, that example I used before, if you're not taking ownership of your triggers and integrating them and healing them, then you're just going to repeat the same patterns. You're going to, what you resist will persist. If you have a beach ball and you push the beach ball underneath water, it just keeps bobbing up somewhere else. So until you integrate your trauma and your limitations, your limiting beliefs, you're going to keep repeating the same patterns. So being able to become conscious, regulate your emotions, then have some self-reflection to find what did my partner trigger within me that I have not revealed yet, because it's not them, it's you. Again, triggers versus boundaries. If you're triggered by it, it's you, versus a boundary, enforce it in a healthy way. If you're triggered, it's you. So a good question that I can ask, and I do this in a lot of my other content, is you can do it with mum and dad, but let's do it for your partner right now. Think of your current partner or your ex-partner if you're a single person. In a one-word answer, it will be a trait, a behavior, or a part of them, something they did or something they didn't do. In a one-word answer, what's the one thing you dislike most about your partner? It'll be a trait, a behavior, or a part of them, something they did or didn't do. Rejected, neglected, abandoned, lied, betrayed, anger, lying, manipulation, list goes on. There's 4,628 traits that human beings can display. Look through and find that answer. And find maybe 3, 4, even 5 of them. Find those traits and behaviors. Very commonly, these traits and behaviors will reflect your parents or one of your parents, because you attract your unhealed trauma into your life until you heal it. So being able to do what I just did then, being able to find the traits, reflect, become aware of it, and then integrate it. Do a process on it. How do you do that? Come work with me. I've got my balancing process. My balancing process heals wounds and triggers in about 60 to 90 minutes. It's really powerful. I have a belief process where we remove limiting beliefs in about 5 to 10 minutes. You can actually do it within seconds once you know how to do it properly. I'll share a quick story on this. So me and my wife, we're driving down to a podcast. It actually got launched the other day, and it was on how to have a healthy relationship. So we both got invited on to talk about our relationship, how we navigate trauma and triggers and all this stuff. And it was so perfectly ironic. We're literally driving down to go to this podcast, and we both get triggered. We're having like a fucking argument on the way to this podcast. I'm like, how ironic is this? So we're literally like 5 minutes away from the podcast. I said, babe, we got to get our shit together. Like, we're about to go on and talk about a healthy fucking relationship, and we're having like an argument right now. Let's regulate. Let's take a breath in. So take a breath in with me. We regulated, we became conscious and regulated. Then we asked ourselves, what's the trigger? What's the thing that our partner, each other, is reflecting back to us that's triggering us? Mine was rude. George's, my wife, was invalidated. So those were the traits. Now, we didn't have time to do an integration process because we had like 5 minutes to go do the podcast. So we just put it on our trigger hit list for my clients. You know what I mean? We add it to the list, and then we schedule time in to do a process later. Okay? Because if you don't do the integration part, then the same triggers and wounds keep fucking popping up, right? That's why your partner keeps triggering you for the same fucking shit, because you haven't integrated yet. Again, I mentioned subtly, maintenance tools. So that's when we regulate in the moment. And then progress tools, we go integrate whatever was triggered so it stops getting triggered. Hope that made sense. So second point was ownership of your own triggers, wounds, traumas. Third, this is a biggie. I love this one. It's learning to actually genuinely understand your partner's perspective. I think one of the greatest skills any human on the planet can learn is how to genuinely validate and understand someone's perspective. If someone sees something, believes something, perceives something, it's because of their conditioning, their upbringing, who they are. If you were to literally step in their shoes from the moment they were born all the way through with their parents, their childhood, everything like that, you would understand how they got to where they are right now. I'll share, again, a little example of this, of me and my wife. So I have headphones in, so I wear AirPods a fair bit. I know some people aren't into that because of technology. I get it. But I like to listen to podcasts around the house. We're doing some cleaning. I was just listening to a podcast whilst I was cleaning. And I walk past the fridge and my wife says something, but I can't hear her very well because I've got headphones in. So I make like this weird noise like, huh? Like, what do you mean? Like, huh? What do you mean? And I didn't hear anything beyond that. So I just kept cleaning. I kept doing my thing. And then like my wife got a bit angry. She's like, babe, and she got my attention. I'm like, oh, what's up? She's like, you didn't pass the thing. You didn't pass the milk or the orange juice. I forget what it was. She's like, you didn't pass me the thing. I'm like, what do you mean? You didn't ask me to. Yeah. And she's like, yes, I did. And you said, yes, you would. I'm like, no, I didn't. And we didn't see each other's perspective. So then we reflected, we regulated to get through it. And then we reflected. I'm like, From her perspective, she thought I said sure or yes. So from her perspective, she actually thought I said, yes, I'll grab you the thing. From my perspective, I was like, I said, huh? What do you mean? I didn't even hear you. And because she didn't then continue to say, hey, babe, did you hear me? I thought she was maybe talking to the cat, talking to our dog. She talks to our animals a fair bit. So from my perspective, I was right. From her perspective, she was right. So it's being able to actually understand your partner's perspective and validate them genuinely. Because if you've got a partner who's learning to validate you, which is awesome and it's a great stepping stone, but they've only done it to tick the box of validating you, you can feel it, right? But when you can really step into someone's world and actually understand why they think the way that they think, they did the thing that they did, or they didn't do the thing they didn't do, and actually understand them and validate them, it is so fucking powerful in relationships. It's like, babe, I can totally understand, and that makes so much sense why you did X, Y, Z. Now, I'm not saying you then allow the behavior, whatever the situation is, it depends on what's going on for the certain situation. But that one skill of actually jumping into someone's perspective and actually genuinely seeing their perspective and validating them. Now, the validation doesn't mean you condone the behavior. It's like, say your partner cheats on you. It's not like, okay, I understand and that's perfect. No. It's like, okay, I can understand why you went down that. You had some unhealed trauma. You did this. You made a dumb decision. And the consequence of that, you may leave that person, and that's okay as well. Or it may be you might work through that stuff. Who knows? That's a discerning question of what to do. Discernment is whatever your truth is. But again, that step of genuinely seeing the other person's perspective, really powerful skill to learn. So those are 3 tools or 3 examples of what emotional intelligence can look like. There's more than that out there, but those are 3 that I think are quite powerful. I'll read them back to you. Number 1, learning how to regulate your emotions. So when you get triggered, when you're feeling dysregulated, when you're knocked out of balance, do some breath work, do some grounding, do some eye gazing. There's many things you can do to regulate your nervous system. Number 2 is take ownership of your triggers and go integrate them. Go heal them. Nothing triggers you. It reveals what's inside of you. When your partner triggers you, it's not them, it's you. Again, boundaries versus triggers. Remember that. If it's not life-threatening, it's just ego-threatening. It's you. Number 3 is learn how to genuinely understand see your partner's perspective and validate them genuinely. You do that, it's going to go a long way to having a healthy, conscious relationship. I'd love to know your thoughts. Which one do you enjoy the most, or you enjoy all of them? Any tips, any questions? Put your questions down below. I do all of my comments myself on YouTube, so I appreciate that. Please like, please subscribe. If you're interested, guys, go grab a copy of my book, grab a free trial and a one-on-one call with me personally. My calls book out, so be quick so you can grab yourself a call ASAP with me. And I appreciate you. Hope you got value from this. Please share this around. Send this to your partner. I'll do the work for you. I hope you're well. Stay well. Speak soon.